the eyes are within a fairly dark patch of pigment as well. So I'm not going to try to draw the eye just yet. But what I'll do instead is just pick out the larger general shape. Which comes down a bit lower on the right. And then on the left, we've just got a little bit of the eye showing there. I perhaps added a touch too much there, but I think we can get away with it. Now there's a patch of dark colour on the nose as well. So we'll block that in. There's a patch of dark colour which I think is the underside of the jaw. It's a little difficult to tell in the reference. And then the chest has this magnificent stripe going down it. So what I'll do is I'll kind of push against the bristles a little bit as I reach the edge of that, so that I hopefully get a little bit of the odd frayed edge, so that the stripe doesn't have too regular an edge to it. Now, as we come down here to the bit of chest by the tops of the front legs, it's really quite dark down there, so I'm kind of torn between mimicking the reality of the situation, which is why I'm moving on to the legs for the moment, and because I quite like this, this bit of texture here, so I'm still going to leave that for the moment, I think. Let's grab a bit more of my paint off a bit more of this purple off the palette. Just dry brush some of that across. Now, although it's not quite colour accurate, I can kind of tease some of this colour across into the lighter regions to begin to suggest a bit of texture on the fleece, but let's not get too carried away with that, and instead darken the knee on our right here. And that leg can disappear into the foliage. I've also got another dark knee there. And the right hand part of the lower leg is nice and dark too. And then we come to the belly, peeking out from behind this leg on the left. I'm kind of wiggling the brush again, just like I did in the sky, just to give me an undulating edge on the top of this patch of dark fleece. The rear leg here is pretty dark as well. And dark patch there. And that rear leg is pretty dark too. Now there are a couple of areas where I think I could just make use of this too dark yellow that I mixed up if I add a bit of the crimson and then just take it down a notch by going into that paler patch. The top of the head has patch of kind of orangey colour to it. And there's also a bit down there. And then looking around, I can probably put a touch there. And that's probably about it. I'm sort of cheating a bit, but I'm going to put a little bit in there as well. A couple of bits there too. And then we'll come in and do some highlights and things in just a second. The next thing I want to do is add a little bit more variety of colour to some of the darks. So this is just pure ultramarine blue, same brush as before, and I'm just applying this fairly thinly. So this is going to have a double effect. It's going to create, some extra colour within the dark patches, and it's also going to darken those areas a bit as well. But I'm quite deliberately not covering everything I've done for this first layer of paint. I just want to make sure there are some subtle darks and lights within my shadows and also the dark patches of the fleece. I'm still being careful to leave this bit as it is because I quite like that. I know it's not representative of the animal, but I don't know, I just think it's an interesting effect. Now, having done that, let's put a little bit of the tinting white into that same mixture. And that was probably a little bit too much, to be honest. So we'll grab a little bit more of the ultramarine, which I could do with refreshing on my palette. But when we look around the different parts of the animal, there are some slightly lighter blues. And, sometimes I put these highlights in the wrong place, quite frankly. Yeah, but I do that deliberately. Again, just if I feel it's going to work for the painting. I'm just going to spray. I forgot to say before, just after the last coat of paint, before I added the blue, I did let the painting dry completely. So for that reason, I'm just adding a bit of water with the spray bottle. So you see, if I paint onto a dry surface like this, I get this nice broken brush stroke. The kind of dry brush effect is what we call it. That creates a nice, interesting texture. But if I paint onto a wetter surface, then I get a much softer edged patch of tone and colour. And all of those things, if you kind of mix them up, you can use them to suggest the texture of wool, or or a number of different things depending on what you're up to. A little bit more water there.